This right hip pushes at a 45-degree angle that way. It prevents the opening and keeps the hips square when I'm setting them forward. I never have the pressure on the right half of my feet. It's always on the left half. In the left one, I'm careful with that because I don't want people over bumping and then going like this. See how it looks like a reverse K? You need to see an angle here. If there's no angle here, you didn't get this angle.
I can feel in the left glute when I do the...
You can? Oh, that was your best swing you've made, period, today. Would you say the predominant miss is the block?
Yes.
Okay.
The miss that costs the strokes, right? Yeah.
And the driver, the longer the club, the more it gets out there. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Where can that right miss come from? Okay, two ways the body beats the arms and hands and club to the golf ball. One, a lot of the young players do this rotationally. Okay, their hips fly, hands stay behind, they have to flip it to catch up, right? Yeah. If it stays behind, they don't flip, way right. Why are those arms and hands getting caught behind? It's laterally. And what happens is, what I mean by that is, not that you're necessarily moving laterally, but your body's out from the face-on view, out in front of the golf ball. And that's to start with. That's in your setup. You already set the problem preset, and then you're having to stand up and try to catch the arms up. And if you just don't do that perfectly with the perfect timing, it's going right every time. Yeah. So here's what I mean by that, okay? So let's bring it over here, guys. And here's what I mean by being in front of it to start with. When you look at Mark, that ball is literally running up the side of his face. Now in your case here, okay, you can see how your spine, look how his spine is completely behind the golf ball, right? So it's two reasons why that's happening right there. Is one, the ball position's not far enough forward relative to the center of your body. And second, when you look at your lower body, we don't create that same post and brace with the lower body, and I'll explain that hip bump, that then kicks the spine angle back. What you have is, if you look at your trail leg, the trail leg's almost straighter, and the lead leg is almost kicked in a little bit. Now, think about it like this. You're basically hitting what you think is a fastball, and it's a changeup. Now, does this make sense?
Yep.
Okay, you're already, oh, fastball.
Yeah.
And the ball's still 10 feet away from you, and you're like, oh, no, and the only way for a golfer to get that club and the hands caught up is to then slowly stand up, stall out to allow the arms to catch up. And then, unfortunately, what happens is, for a lot of my juniors, younger players, and a lot of amateurs as well, those hands just roll over. It's like a windshield wiper going through impact.
Right.
Whenever the body's facing the ball and you're not able to just rotate cleanly, you're not going to stabilize the face the right way. The understanding that if this is the golf ball right here, okay, and that's the middle of our body, that 8-iron would be up there. We're now going to keep the hips square. We're going to shift them forward. And people always say, Adam, it looks like you go forward and back. Yeah, I do. I get my femur literally right on top of my left leg, left foot, so it feels like a post. Now, people's tendency is typically to open up. There are some that do it and close themselves, but to open up. And I'll tell you this, if you're going to err on the side of one when you bump your hips, you'd rather turn it and be a little closed, because that helps promote the turn. When you learn the hip bump the right way, and here's what we're gonna, because a lot of people don't understand the hip bump. They hear it and they're like, God, I wish I just knew how to do that correctly. It's not as simple as just go 1 inch to the left. It's, you're setting your pelvis in a position to where once it's set, it frees up your turn and opens your body up in a way that's like, oh my gosh, I have all this room now to be able to bring the arms right back down underneath you. Here's how I teach it. This right hip pushes at a 45-degree angle that way. And you can see what that does from this angle here, guys. It prevents the opening and keeps the hips square when I'm setting them forward. So you can see I'm still getting that left hip forward towards a target and that lead leg posted up. There's the brace. But this is a way that really sets the pelvis and really opens up that turn, okay? A real definitive, checklist for yourself in the setup. First, for me, I like holding the golf club out from my belt just to be able to identify the center of my stance. Guys, the only ball that should ever fall underneath that's a wedge. Okay. Everything else should start living left of that for a right-handed golfer. Yep. And then if this is the center right here, the ball's left of that, my chest is just behind that. Not because I dipped my chest back, but because I use my hips and then the hips and the spine are perpendicular, which is what creates that look. That left hip goes forward, and that left hip slightly gets a little higher than my right one, which is what kicks that spine back and allows for that big turn, okay? So I'm in here like this, and then you'll see once I get set, there it is. And once I do that, I'm pretty much, locked into place right there. And what I love about that feeling, the swing really starts from the ground up. It really does. And people have a hard time understanding what that means unless it's taught the right way. I really, when I'm setting myself up, I'm engaging the ground, not just with that hip bump. That hip bump's shifting the pressure to the flat of this foot and to the inside of this foot. So the reality is I'm placing pressure to where pressure is going to be added to in my swing. I'm not just standing there neutral and then finding it. That's the person who rolls side to side and gets all over the place.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, right? I'm putting that pressure on that instep, quite like I have a doorstop on the outside of my foot there.
Yes.
And I'm in there, I'm digging in like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm placing that pressure into that spot with my turn.
Got
okay.
It. So with the hip bump, are you also feeling the right knee almost
move in? Yes.
With the pressure.
Yep. And we saw a lot of the old school classic greats, right? And all the guys with,
Yes.
all the guys getting in there, that right knee would start moving in like that.
Right.
Well, yeah, they're just setting that brace.
Yeah.
I had Patty Sheehan out here, who's a 6-time major champion, World Golf Hall of Famer. She's awesome, and she's like, one of the first things I ever did was I put that golf ball on the outside of my foot and felt that knee stay right there. And if that knee stayed there, I was stable and I was turning into that really stable brace. What that does also is it maintains that anchor point. It maintains this post. Maintaining that brace maintains this post, which then allows for very minimal lateral shift, not a huge one on the way through, the appropriate amount that you can actually then rotate and cover it. So, yeah.
The weight on your left foot when you do the hip bump,
yeah.
Are you feeling that on the inside of the foot?
Not on the inside. It gets to the flat of the foot. And here, it's just important. It doesn't go like outside the foot.
Yeah.
It definitely gets more to the flat of the foot. If you take your feet, right, and these two fingers and these two fingers are the left half of your feet, I never have the pressure on the right half of my feet. It's always on the left half. And the left one, I'm careful with that because I don't want people over bumping and then going like this.
Yeah.
I just like to say more of the flat of the foot. But I definitely can feel, when I'm standing up here, I feel more of the insides of my feet. When I shift, I only feel the inside of this foot. And I feel like the outside of my foot was definitely placed on the ground on my left side, but I feel the majority of the pressure right in the middle, right on the flat of it.
Uh-huh.
Why? Because that femur, once again, it's like a post, and it's right on top of the middle. It's not shifted to where it got outside and my knee bowed out like that. And see, this is overdone,
yep.
And that's where that is actually lifted off the ground. That's why I'm careful with telling people the outside of the foot. For somebody who's not bumping their hips, it's going to feel as if, yes, it's going to the outside a little bit and the inside,
yep.
Like they have door stops under both feet. But I always want the pressure existing more on the left half of the feet. Okay, now some people slide like crazy through the golf ball and they have to feel their hip turn on the inside of that foot. And that's a feeling for some people out there as well that I know are watching this going, oh, I can't feel like it's getting to the outside because I get way out there. That shift right there is getting me side to side, getting that pressure engaged to where flat of the foot, inside of the foot. See how it looks like a reverse K?
Yeah.
A backwards K.
I do.
We should be able to see that every time when you're in there, okay? Like literally like every time when you're in here, you need to see an angle here. If there's no angle here,
yeah,
you didn't get this angle.
I can feel in the left glute when I do the bump a little bit.
Good,
yeah.
good. But the biggest thing here, yes, it's great, is that two things happen. Your hips don't open up when you do it, and your upper body doesn't slide forward when you bump your hips. I don't want to see this. This is a big one right here. People do this a lot. Ready? See my upper body?
Yes.
Now, that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Leave this still and bump it. Now, here's something cool that Todd showed me to guarantee I do this right. He talked about if I hang my right hand down in relationship to my lower body, where should it fall? So watch. If I were to slide with it, my hand stayed in the inside of this knee. With a 7-iron, middle of the bag, if I shift my hips and have my upper body in the right spot, my middle finger should be on the outside of my knee. Ready for the driver? I should be completely clear of my left knee. With a wedge, I'd be right over it because I'm, straight up and down. It's not as big of a K, right? But with the 7-iron middle of the bag, you bump. Well, hey, I should be there if I hang my hands down. It should be on the inside and on the outside. That's my upper body's relationship to my lower body. Hop in there again, do that again. How's that look over there, Kev? Good? Oh, dude, already night and day right there. That was impressive.
You're fluffing me up now, Adam.
That was a completely different downswing than what you did before. Wait till I'm gonna fluff you up big time when I show you this video show you this film here. Do that again. Kev's practically training, by the way, to be our third instructor. He's already had about 3,000 hours of training. Looking good over there, Kev? Good. Oh, that was your best swing you've made, period, today. At Forzak Golf, we take a lot of pride in having developed some of the best and most consistent golf swings on the planet. We do this through simplicity. Our Full Swing Masterclass will take you on a step-by-step, easy-to-understand process on how to get your golf swing better than ever. Join the many before you who've utilized our Full Swing Masterclass to take their games to the next level and beyond.